Good evening, y'all. How y'all doing? Thought I'd come live today. I haven't done a Facebook Live and a YouTube Live in a few weeks. Just been real busy. But I wanted to come on here and talk about something that I saw that was very interesting lately. Um, when it comes to black businesses, I always notice that, we don't put our images a lot of times on our websites and things. We always use either Caucasians or some other race, but we always seem to shield who the real owner is, or we don't even want it to know that the company is even ran by black people or black people work there and things. But what I've noticed, especially since the All Lives Matter, I mean Black Lives Matter and all that stuff that's been going on, that white corporations are actually using black images on the front of their websites, their marketing, and everything. And so it's got me thinking, like, so why are we still hiding who we are? Like, what are we not good enough that we have to use somebody else's image to represent what we've built? And that's kind of weird. Especially since they're now using our image to market things to us, so we buy what they have to sell. And I'm like, well, why are we not, you know, why are we not actually marketing to our own people using our own images and things? I know it kind of probably stems from, you know, I guess slavery, uh, that whole adage that white is right, things like that. And that we always want to market to white people, because we in our minds we feel that they pay and our people don't pay. So we got it. We got all this weird psychological stuff going on in our community that's kind of damaging. But it just made me think, like, I'm seeing white people using our images, um, the Black Lives Matter, that whole saying, and they're using black people, and they're not even, it used to be a certain type of black person they would use. Now they're just using all types. You have black people with natural hair, you have all types of things now that they're marketing, and they're using our people on their advertisements. And I'm just like, so when we gonna wake up and stop doing that to ourselves? Because there's still a lot of black-owned businesses that if you go to their website, you don't even know who the owner is. Like, they pretty much shield who they are. Um, and then if you ask them why they do that, and they're like, well, you want to be you don't want to be transparent to that point. You want to be, shielded because you want to market to everybody. But in reality, most cultures do not market to everybody. They market to their own people. If you go to Asian countries, everything that they make in Asian countries is for Asian people. That's why when you go over there, a lot of times people can't buy clothes and things because they don't fit them, but they make things for their people that live over there. Even when it comes to these white corporations, they're making products for their people, white people. They're not really making things for us. We just kind of buy it, and we kind of, make it fit into our lifestyle. But in reality, we were never put into the equation. But when it comes to us, we want to market to everyone. We want everyone to accept us and all this. And so we will sacrifice who we are. We'll sacrifice our name. We'll sacrifice, that you're even an owner of a business or anything. And that's just strange to me. And, I've had this discussion with quite a few people, and some people, there's a lot of older people and older generations that think this way. Like, you can't show that you're a black person when you own something, or if you're running something, you have to include everybody in your corporation or your business. You can't, just can't be exclusively black. And that's just weird when everybody else, you know they exclude us all the time. They don't ever factor us in. The reason they're factoring us in now is because they can make money off of us in the current climate and situations that we're in. But after this whole Black Lives Matter, stuff, um, fades away, it'll go back to normal, and we won't even be brought into the equation. They'll sell things that that focus on their population of people. And so it just got me thinking this. I was thinking about this earlier today, and I was like, I think I'll do that on a live today. Let's talk about that, because it's very troubling that in 2020 we're still keeping up these same ways of thinking that were they were wrong back then, and they're definitely wrong now. And to keep pushing them, that's just weird. But it's not even I was saying it was older generations, but I've seen some younger people do it as well. So, what do you guys think about that? I have some comments on here. Jordan says, Nadia, people told me I shouldn't put black in the name of my foundation. Oh yeah, when I started Agri Academy, and my focus was, for mainly black children. I'll branch out too and do other people of color, but my focus was black children as far as teaching them about agriculture. Agri Academy is also a research lab, but it was focused for helping black farmers and black scientists. It was not, exclusively for everyone. And I got a lot of slack for that. Like, I was told I should include everyone. That's being racist. And I was like, well, it's not being racist. It's not all the things that are out here for everybody else. We don't have anything of our own. And so we're always, the last ones to have access to stuff. And by the time we get to that point, we don't get anything. And so, I created that Agri Academy because things like 4-H and stuff wasn't coming to the black communities and helping children learn about agriculture and science and things. They weren't doing that. 4-H here in Ohio, and maybe different in other states, but here in Ohio, they're not coming to the hood to teach them about agriculture. And if they are, they're only coming if they get a grant, and the requirement is they have to have so many black children or people of color, but they're not really teaching them, and they're not really preparing them for the future as say I would, because I've gone through this stuff. I look like them. I've gone through what they've gone through, and I'm trying to prepare them for what they may have to go through, or prepare them to not have to go through those things. But it's just weird that when it comes to us, we are so scared to say I have this black pride, and that bothers me. Ronnie Ruffin said my picture. If I had a good product, I would want everyone to buy it. That means more profits. Kofi, if you have a good product, it will sell itself. Exactly. So I shouldn't have to hide who I am, or I shouldn't have to. And even if I want to target my community of people, other races do it all the time. They have things specifically for it may be like a restaurant or something, but at the end of the day, it was specifically targeted for their people. Like I used the Asian example. Like over in China, Chinese people are smaller than Americans. So everything they make over there, if you try to buy those clothes, they're not going to fit you because they're not tailor made for our body types. But they make those specifically for their people, so their people can buy their products. And nobody ever bats an eye with that. Like, oh, well, they only make it for Chinese people, or they only make it for Japanese people, but when it comes to black people doing that, it's a problem. And that just gets on my nerves. And you know what? I don't care. I do everything. When I do things for, my population of people first. And then if anybody wants to buy into it outside of that, that's fine. But I'm trying to, fill a void that's not in our community. Davon Brooks, I'm opposed to using the word black in reference to African and Native American heritage, reducing all of our substance down to a color, and a negative color at that. I propose you to get rid of identity ourselves as black and calling European Americans white, playing into this whole color game madness. Well, I don't agree with that. As far as I don't see black as a negative color. So I'm not sure why you figure black is a negative color. I mean, at the end of the day, African is not a country. Where do we come from? And if we refer to ourselves as black, I don't see that as being negative. Um, Also, but if your product or your service or whatever is specifically targeting black people, what is wrong with you saying, I'm only targeting black people with this, or I'm only doing this? Because they do it all the time for theirs. They might have a grant, and right now there's lots and lots of grants out that, I went over that whole thing, how to write a proposal, but there's a lot of grants out that they're specifically targeting black people, and we're okay when other groups specifically target us, but when we specifically target our own people, there's a problem with that, and that's weird. That is so strange. Toria, the younger generation learn from the older family is taught behavior. So when do we stop this behavior? Like, when do we stop teaching the next generation this nonsense? We intended to use images that look like us, accurate representation. Thanks, Kim. That's a good. I want to see that. In China, most people are Chinese. They are not even living in a very diverse country like the United States. Had a bad comparison. Okay, well, if you feel that's a bad comparison, I know if you go over to China, people have always said when they go over there that, they can't specifically fit the clothing and things over there. I need to see the info on writing proposals, Kofi. It's on my YouTube. The video's on my YouTube, Kofi. I do it. I accept all, but I think it's important to brand with an urban look. Our symbols, we start now. Black is a positive color. The original color you have is a black before you can have any other color, but that's a different topic. Oh, you're welcome, Kofi. Yeah, I don't know. It's a lot of psychological stuff that we have to, have to address in our community. Um, I don't know. Like, even when it comes to native cultures and things, if you look at Native Americans, they have things specifically for their tribes and stuff. I mean, you can go and buy it, but it means something to their tribe, and that's okay. Like, other cultures and things can focus in on their specific people, and nobody bats an eye. But as soon as black people say, or if you want to call you African American, whatever you want to call yourself, as soon as you say, I'm only targeting people that look like myself, then there's a problem. And that's weird. That's weird. Or, I don't want to hide who I am. I can't hide who I am. Because I've been out in the public for so long. There's no way of hiding what I look like anymore. And it has not, caused me any negativity to put my image on things. And, to even say, I'll help everyone, but my specific targets are youth in this specific demographic, or scientists, or farmers in this specific demographic, and people understand that. Like, now that this is Black Lives Matter stuff going on, black is in, so now I'm sought out because I'm black. They want a black this and a black that. And this is not even black people asking for this. This is people in other cultures. They want a black person to represent this that they're doing and that and they're doing. And like I say, everybody else is using our image and making money, and then we're still hiding on our websites and who we even are. And that's so sad. That's sad. We got to get out of this. They're from a country. Kofi. Hi, Sherry. How are you? Your product should always be the image of your company, in my view. If you want a product to be sold, African American, other organizations, a lot of black Caribbean descent. I say black because you can hide your melanated color. That's impossible anyway. Oh, you can hide it. People do it all the time. if you go online and you look up a lot of black owned business, if you know it's a black owned business, it's the first thing when you pull up their website, or you pull up their Instagrams, or you pull up their Facebook, you see images of white people or some other culture. You don't see, or if it's black people, it's a certain type of black person, like, either light skin, they might have straight hair. It's what they deem as the safe black person. If they do put black people on their websites, and if they don't, it's going to be white people, and it's never going to refer who are the even owners. Like, they'll have a general about me page, and they'll just talk about the products. It doesn't talk about who created it. It doesn't talk about when it was created, who was the creator, what their history was. There's nothing on there, and that's kind of shady to me. Like, that we would even do that. Like, we would hide who we are. Like, that doesn't sit right with me. People still wanting to blend in for an extra buck. But that's the thing. Like, what I do, besides, the reaching out to the children and stuff, I grow things. I do research. I do all types of stuff. In the end, that really doesn't have a color to it. And so I don't try to hide, who I am and what I'm doing, and the person that's doing it and the person behind it. But it's just, I don't know, it's kind of strange. Can't trust them people hiding. People still want to blend in. Yeah, you can't trust them hiding. But this is the reality of a lot of black businesses in color code, where there are swatches of colors you would never call brown, black, never refer to Caucasian. Okay, I'm not getting in the whole semantics of why people call themselves black, white, and this and other. I'm talking about if you are a black owned business, or if you're going to call yourself African American, or you whatever you want to call yourself, but you look like me, and you have a business, and you have people that don't look like you on your website and on your marketing materials and stuff, that's just weird. So I'm not getting in the whole argument about black, white, where we came from, because that's a whole nother topic, and I'm not doing that today. I'm just specifically talking about, if you own a business, why don't you have people that look like you on your website and on your marketing material, and why do you keep it a secret that that's who you are and that's what you look like? That's all I want to know. Whatever you want to call yourself, why do you keep it a secret? Why are they keeping it a secret? Because now other cultures are using our images. People that look like us, whatever you want to call yourself, they're using our images, and they're making money off of us because they're specifically targeting our demographic to come to their website. So they're putting people that look like us on their website to buy products from them, and they had not done that in the past. And then we run right to them and we buy the stuff from them. So I'm just trying to figure out what is going on in our mind. It's okay if another demographic says it's okay to use black images, but we can't use black images on our own stuff. Is that what it is? I don't know. It's this the most I've seen, black people talk about, black people since this whole Black Lives Matters thing came up after the George Floyd assassination. But it's like we wait to get permission to even talk about ourselves. And I don't like that either. And if I talked about this outside of, this whole climate that we're in right now, I would be called all types of names. I would be saying I'm trying to, separate people and militant. But when it's other demographics talking about us and our issues, it's okay to talk about being black. It's okay now because they gave us permission, I guess. It's just weird. Because they think they would bring in more clientele. The clientele they are seeking don't like black people. Self-hate. I changed my name on Poshmark to market by business name because I felt it would slow down sales. I wanted all money. I wanted all money and not just money from one race. I'm more concerned about the product I'm buying. So if I'm selling a product, but I don't ever say that it's just specifically a black person's product, but if I put my picture on my website and I say just buy my product, people are just gonna assume that it's just for black people because I put a picture of a black person on there. I mean, if I'm selling socks, anybody can buy socks. Now, some things that are specific to our culture, everybody's not gonna buy those things. But if I'm selling socks, but I put an image of me wearing those socks, is that saying like, I'm only marketing my socks to black people because I put myself on there? I'm more concerned about the product, and I'm buying is a good product price. So, Bam Moneta, do you have an image of yourself on your site? Do you have an image of yourself? Ralph Hanley. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just reading through the comments. But why is it that okay? Why is it that we take that stance then? If it's I don't want to market to just specifically my race, but when you look at European or Caucasian, whatever you want to call them, websites, and they have all white people on it, why is it that we take the stance? Oh, I can buy this too, even though it has all white people on there. I because at the end, they really aren't marketing stuff to us. They're marketing to their own demographic, the people, but we still go on there and buy it. But if I put a black image on my website, I'm only targeting black people, even though if I didn't even say that. Even I just have a picture with me wearing what t-shirt, socks, whatever. I just want you to buy my product because I'm modeling it. And in our minds, we're only targeting black people. Is that what our mind is telling us? And why does our mind tell us that? Because I can go on. We can go on any website right now. Let's think of a product that every like black people buy. All those name brands. Most of the time, you go on those websites, you don't see any black people on there. And if you do, it's that certain type that they put on there, or But most time you don't see us on there, but we still buy the product, even though it's not really targeted at us. A lot of the times, those stuff don't even fit us right. It's not cut for us, or the product isn't really, if it's something general like a cleaning product or something, that's different. But when it comes to like clothing and stuff, they're not really targeting our um our people. And we go and buy the stuff up and squeeze ourselves in it because it's not really made for us to fit into. And we had no problem. We had no problem that there was not one black person on the website, not black person in the advertisement, nothing. We go right on there and buy it. We spend all that money. But if I have a website and I put a black image on there, why is it that assumed that I'm only targeting black people? Why can't we have that same, you know, stance when it comes to a black person's in their business and website? I mean, we sell a lot of products that people can use. I mean, soaps, oils, all that stuff that we be selling, anybody can use that stuff. But then when it comes to like specific things, maybe for our hair or, whatever, yes, that might be specifically targeting us, but we have other items on there that target everybody. So I don't know. It's just a weird dynamic that we live in. Why do you need an image of yourself on your product? I'm not just talking about my image. I'm talking about if I have a model, if I put a black model on my website, modeling, say I'm selling clothes and I have a black model on there. Why is it that in our mind that we're only targeting black people, but if Ralph Lauren puts a white woman or a white man on there, we don't have that same stance. We go right on there and we'll buy, that stuff. We'll buy that stuff from those companies. even though there's nobody on that site that represents, that looks like us. Some business owners don't want black customers, clientele. And that, you know what, Jordan? What's funny is a lot of these companies don't want black clientele, but we go and buy the stuff up anyway. And they blatantly don't want us because they don't even use us in their advertisement and things. But we go and buy it up anyway. And we still buy it. Yep, we still buy it. Who said that we can't use beautiful, rich, brown images in our marketing scheme? Hard to build a business and caters. I didn't say, so that's what I said. I didn't say that. I'm saying when I use it, why is it that we take the stance that I'm only marketing to black people, but when everybody else does it, when they only have certain people that look like them on theirs, they're marketing to everybody in our mind. I don't know. I always felt like being myself. They gonna meet my black A anytime, anyway. My talent is going to speak for itself. I'm going to. And then, okay, why do we have to call it a black-owned business? I don't ever hear, Asian-owned businesses, Latino-owned businesses, you know, white-owned businesses, but ours are always put front and center. And why is that? Like, it's almost insinuating like we're unable to carry out business, and we have to be put on a spotlight. I don't know. It just had me thinking, because I was looking through ads, and all of a sudden I'm seeing all this Black Lives Matter stuff on websites like Amazon and all that, and then some of the models that they're using now on their sites are black women or men, and I'm just trying to figure out, like, okay, they can use our image, they can use images that look like us to market to us, but when we don't even use people that look like us, or we don't use people, either we don't use people at all, we don't tell our true history, we don't even show who owns the business, but they can use our image and profit off our image, and that's just weird. Like, let's change this dynamic. Let's not take this into 2021. Like, you can have black people on your website. It's okay. You can have people that look like you on your website or on your, Instagram and things. I've seen people on Instagram. I wouldn't even know it's a black-owned company. And then you have those other companies that are owned by other, demographics, and they're using our wording. They're using, they're using everything that looks like us, but it's not even owned by us. And we get duped all the time thinking, because now everything is, you want to buy from a black-owned business. So we get duped into thinking that we're buying from a black-owned business because they've gone and taken all these images of black people and put it on their website. And then now you're thinking you're buying, you're supporting a black business, and in reality you're not. So we even have that going on. And it's like everything's being hijacked now. And, the same thing that was looked down upon, now it's like, this is what you guys want to do. This is how you're going to make your money. You got to use people that look like these people now to make money. And I me being a black person, I'm not a trend. Like, I'm not a trend. But that's what's happening now. We've become trendy. Need to pay Black Twitter for stealing their content. A lot of black people I know don't label their business black, and they also don't hide the color. I never said label your business black. I don't know. Where do you live, Dwayne McDougal? Where do you live? Cause here right now, if you go online and you look at any company now, the first thing you're going to see on top of there is Black Lives Matter, or whatever they done changed it to now. They keep changing it. It ain't really Black Lives Matter anymore. It's went to all these other black groups, and I'm not even going to get into that. So it doesn't even it's not even focused on what it was, but they are using black as a way of marketing and making money and selling their products, and nobody's addressing that. Like, nobody's looking at that like, oh, they're using, they're even using the whole, you know, George Floyd, as well as all these other folks that have died because of police brutality and any other atrocities that have happened. They're using that to attract black people to their sites and saying like, oh, we support you guys, and while we're supporting you, hey, why don't you buy these products too? And so it's like, y'all don't see that's going on. But if I'm selling if I'm a black owner of a business and I'm selling a product, I feel like people look like me, feel like they have to hide who they are, but but on their sites they're using you. So I never said you had to blatantly label your business as black owned, but that's how they're that's how society has labeled us now. You know, I get calls now and things to do things because I'm a black farmer or I'm a black scientist, and they specifically say, we're looking for a black farmer or we're looking for a black scientist and we want you to be that one. So it's okay for them to do that, but we can't do that ourselves. It's not this trendy thing, and yes, you are right. That's capitalism. Yes, you need to play back Twitter. Wish we were open for a free dialogue about all the things related to the subject like Caucasians do. Okay, why do we feel we're not open to a dialogue? Why do we feel that? We can have a dialogue. Why do we feel we're not open to that? You don't feel comfortable with that, or what? Because any day you can have a dialogue about whatever. We just don't. Exactly, we can do it, but we don't. Why don't we? What is keeping us from doing it? Is it fear? What is it? I don't know. It's a lot to unpack here. They build the best businesses because they are open to counsel, consultations, and other minds to come from different angles. They don't really have the best businesses. That's our way of thinking they have the best businesses. If you ever work for any of these places, it's all types of corruption and everything else. They don't always have the best businesses. It's on the outside looking in, you might think it's the best business, but if they had the best businesses, why are all these businesses now going into bankruptcy and shutting down and having to cut back and all this other stuff because of COVID-19? If they had the best business practices, they would have been able to weather that. So it ain't that they have the best businesses. So we need to stop thinking that they have, just because they have things, that they're better than us. They're not. And they also built that stuff off our backs. So no, they're not the best businesses. We can have consultations, we can have counsel, we can do all of that. If you feel that makes a better business, you can do that. There's nobody stopping you from doing that other than you, the owner. But no, don't ever think they have a better business than you, because they don't. Like I'm saying, you need to look around. Like, half of these places, they're 1 foot out of the door. Like, they laying off people, shutting down. Some of them didn't even open back up. They're having to file bankruptcy, merge with other places, hoping somebody buys them out. A lot of them got removed from the stock market and everything else. So no, they ain't better businesses. They're not. So I hope y'all guys been paying attention to that. Like, if you really study the stock market and stuff, there's been a lot of businesses that have been unlisted because their stock went down to zero until we stopped being the biggest consumers of their products and we start being producers and self-sufficient. It's hard to get into what I'm talking about typing everything that needs to be said. Yeah, the only way they became a better business is because, they did some shady, a lot of them did shady things to even get to where they are. And I mean, even going back as far as slavery, a lot of these companies and corporations were built off slaves. They were built off them stealing land. They were built off them, with the SBA and all this stuff now. They were built off the government giving them subsidies and money and grants and free property, all types of stuff so they could get started. And so we didn't get that same, start. So we're starting from, nothing to build up to something. And so you can't say that's a better business when, they got the help. We don't get any help. We don't get anything. SBA, they told us that they shut the whole country down, shut all these businesses down, told you could apply for all these grants and things, the EIDL and all that, and then they don't even follow through what they're supposed to do. They changed it. First, you're supposed to get $10,000 if you own the business. Then they went, as soon as people start filing, then they changed it. Well, you only get 1,000 per employee, up to 10 employees, and all this stuff. But they're saying that. But then I see places like, the Ruth Chris and all that stuff. They're getting millions of dollars. How are you getting millions of dollars when you are supposed to put a cap on it? How are you doing that? I mean, even right now, you got people, Kanye West company getting PPP and all this other stuff. Them people don't need that money. They don't need that money. You have small businesses. You have barbers and beauticians and stuff that could not work. Their money comes from every client they have come in. It's not like if they don't have a product they're selling, they're not making any money. And most of them couldn't even get that government help when it came to the EIDL and the PPP and all those other grants and loans and stuff. And then if they did help you, they didn't even ask you how much you needed. They just gave you an amount. And then when you have to reconsider, then you have to wait months for them to even get back to you. So it's like, no, they don't have a better business. They better at cheating and getting over on people. They are better at that. It's hard to get to it. Oh, okay. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about that because I just see that happening. I see what a lot of us were taught happening now, that they're using what we deemed as negative, they're using as a positive, and they're making money off of it, and that's just weird. Kanye West is black. I'm glad he got it. He was one of the few blacks who did. Why are you glad? Okay. Why are you glad Kanye West got it? I don't care. And this loyalty to black people too, that ain't no good for us. Why are you glad he got it? He's a billionaire. He didn't need that. That money was supposed to be for small businesses in the communities. It wasn't for billionaires. That's what happens all the time. Whenever there's one of these, major things that happen, the billionaires are always helped out. They don't need no money. In fact, they're hoarding money for them to be billionaires. There's nothing that they need. There's nothing that they need. Now, the stores down the street from you that were owned by black people or, some other person of color, they couldn't even get $1,000. Some of them couldn't even get the $1,000. And you're happy that Kanye West, because he's black, got, I don't know, it was over $1 million, I know. I don't see that as a win. That's not a win. And that's not a win at all. When the money was given to the SBA, it was supposed to be given to small businesses. But then it was the switcheroo because, like I said, they're corrupt. Then it switched to, well, we're going to keep this and we're only going to give you this, or we're not going to give you anything, and we'll just shut stuff. Like, they shut the EIDL down. Like, you can't even apply now. And then they were telling you, like, well, you can't get that advance anymore, the grant, but you can apply for a loan, But now it's going to get to the point where you're not even going to qualify for the loan because they're going to start using things like credit and all this other stuff like they've been doing. They did that too throughout this whole process. They started running credit checks. They weren't supposed to do all that. They were supposed to help these small businesses stay in business while they were shut down. That was what this was for. It was not about credit checks. It was about none of that. If you had a business, this is what their website said. You can apply for this, you can apply for that, and it'll help you weather having to be shut down. Then when people started applying, then they moved the goalposts. They just changed everything. It was like, and then Congress came at them and was like, "Why are you doing this?" But then they didn't correct it. I don't know. And so they kept giving money to the SBA, and they only kept using a small percentage of it. They still giving money to big corporations like the airlines, etc. The problem is the most small black businesses don't have a relationship with banks. That's not true. It's a lot of black businesses have a relationship with banks. There's a lot of don't think that. There's a lot of black businesses that have relationships with banks. There's a lot of black businesses that they're netting $1 million or more depending on the products they're selling. So don't take that to heart like, oh, they're not with banks. No, it's a corrupt system. Hi Chandler, how are you? Yes, the system is rigged. Bottom line, that's exactly what I'm getting at. And so when somebody says like, oh, the we try to make every excuse why we're not getting what we're supposed to get, and it always resorts to it being our fault, not their fault. Because for somebody to come on here and say, well, black businesses don't have bank accounts, yes they do. Black businesses have bank accounts. A lot of times you can't register a business without a bank account and things. So if you're going to get an EIN and you're going to run as a business, now I know there are some that are running without bank accounts, but the vast majority that are out here that are trying to run like a real corporation, they have bank accounts. That's not the problem. The problem is the corrupt system. The same system that tells you that if you put a black person on your website, you're only targeting black people or whatever. But if they put black people on there, they can target and market to you, and you'll go and buy. And we buy into this nonsense. They don't have bank accounts, or all the stuff I've heard of why black businesses get it. I've never once heard, well, it's because it's the corrupt SBA or the corrupt government or the corrupt banks. No, it's always something that we're not doing right. It's always us, right? It's always us not doing the right thing. And I can't believe that, because we try to always do the right thing. And that's what usually puts us in a bind, trying to do the right thing. If we was probably corrupt like they were, we'd probably be getting stuff. But yeah, I wanted to just talk about that. Why don't we put black images on our websites and things? Or, why do we keep our business history a secret, or who owns the property, or who owns the business? We keep that secret, but they have no problems telling you who owns it, who started it, where it was started, how it was started up. They don't have no problem telling you that. But we want to keep our stuff secret because we think, oh, we'll get a certain type of clientele, or we'll get all this money, and because we don't say who we are. And why is it that we keep teaching that to the next generation? Since we know it's rigged, we need to stop being big consumers and start co-ops like the Asians do. Open our own banks. So if we open our own banks, but they're still part of the FDIC, we're still part of the corrupt bank system. So we're gonna open our own banks and not be part of the FDIC. Then are you gonna back that, money and things? How are you going about doing that? Wasting money on European name brand clothing. We are the problem too. Yes, we are the problem. We are. Like I said, we will go and buy stuff from a website that has no one that represent us on there. We'll buy we'll buy from these big, name brand companies, and they don't have a person on their website look like us. Even the stuff is not even cut to make, it's not even tailor made to fit us. But we'll go right in there and buy it, spend all that money, and we have no problem. We felt it was being marketed to everyone, even though it only had white people. But if a website has black people on it, we only assume that it's being marketed to black people, and it's not possibly being marketed to everyone. That's what I'm getting at. It's like that needs to stop, because everybody else can have a representation of who they are, what they look like, and nobody bats an eye. But if I make a website and I put my image or any other black person's image on there, it's deemed as negative. That's not what I'm saying. It already depends on Asians have their own bank. They are regulated just like. Just like what? I can't get that to open. Just like other banks. Any other bank. So if Asians, okay, so it's okay for Asians. Asians have their own banking systems. The Europeans, they really have their own. Even though people try to say, well, money doesn't have a color. Yeah, it does. Because when you go to the bank, if you try to get a loan, 9 times out of 10, they're not going to give you one. So they have their own banking system. So we need to come up with our own banking system. Then what do we do after that? Like, we can come up with our own banking system. We come up with all other stuff, but it still has to be a change in the mind. Because if you think that because I do this, it's only for black people, then you're always going to have this negative perspective of a black business. And then there's another thing, like, we only want to support black businesses when another demographic makes us mad. Why is that? Why isn't it just second nature that I go and I shop with a black business? I don't need a certain day out of the year or the month or the week. It should be I just shop at a black business because they're right there in my community, and they have something that I can use. We will go right past a black business to go to another demographic business, and they sell the same exact thing, and then we'll complain about, well, their price was better or this, that, and the other, and blah, 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 blah. But but y'all will spend. I always see these people complain about T-shirts. Like, black people sell their T-shirts for $40. Y'all will buy name brand T-shirts with it don't even have nothing. It'd be a white T-shirt with the label on the inside of that name brand, and it'll be $200, and y'all won't bat an eye because it has that name brand on it. It says Nike, or it says Ralph Lauren, or whatever the brands are y'all buy now. Because I don't be buying that crap. But y'all go right there and buy that stuff. And it'll be a basic T-shirt, basic jeans or basic boots, and y'all spend all that money. But if a black person puts a $40 T-shirt, why are you guys selling T-shirts for that much when I can get it over? Where you gonna get it though? Where you gonna get it at? That is cheaper than that. Wish, and it ain't gonna fit because it's coming from Asia. So I don't know. I don't know, but I'm about to log off. I just hadn't done a live video in a while, and I'll be back to my YouTube live discussions on Sundays real soon. I'm working on these farming projects, so they're taking up a lot of my time, and so I don't have time to actually make those PowerPoint presentations and things. But I'll be back soon. A lot of those are probably going to be in the future about farming and all the science stuff I do and all that, and we're just gonna just build off of those things. So probably in the next 2 or 3 weeks, I'll probably be back on there doing those. But I just wanted to talk about this. I have some other stuff I want to talk about, but I'll say that for another day. All right, so you guys have a good evening. Thanks for coming and chatting with me. All right, bye.